Hello, good people of YouTube. Sealord here, and ever since the introduction of the SAP munition type into the game, many of us have been longing for a proper SAP secondary battleship. Now, the reason SAP is cool is because SAP is essentially HE with a negative fire chance. Like, seriously, in the code, it's HE but with a negative fire chance. That is offset by the fact that it normally gets a large amount of alpha damage and excellent penetrations, which means that you get consistent pin damage on more ships than you would with HE at the cost of, well, not setting fires and getting damage over time. And, of course, when the Italian cruisers came out, again, many of us Battleship mains were like, well, wouldn't it be cool if we had, you know, a battleship with SAP secondaries? And then, of course, the Italian battleships came out, and they had SAP in the main guns, which is terrifying, because when you have 15-inch SAP shells that can penetrate pretty much anything, right, except for, like, turrets, they do often pretty good consistent damage, around like 13 to 15k salvo if we're talking about the Colombo, as you'll see in the background footage, which is terrifying to do that consistently. Battleships, usually it's kind of a roll of the die, you know? You fire AP, the AP bites, get big damage, but then the next salvo, you know, you're going to overpin or miss, or, you know, not hit the part of the ship you wanted to hit, and you might do, you know, 2300 in overpins. But with the SAP shells, you know, consistent damage. So, of course, many of us Battleship players wanted the Italian battleships to have SAP secondaries. Sadly, they did not. Even though they have a ton of secondary guns in most cases, they did not have SAP secondaries. But we did receive a small blessing in the way of Giuseppe Verdi, which is essentially a Marco Polo, which is essentially Lepanto with 16-inch guns with SAP and HE, but with with SAP and AP, but with the Giuseppe Verdi, instead of having SAP and AP in the main guns, she has AP and HE in the main guns, and then SAP in the secondaries, which is pretty neat, except that the range is pretty mediocre, and most of her guns are 90mm guns, which, even with the improved pins that the SAP shells get, is a little lackluster because they're so small. They still, I think they pin like, what, mid-20s, like 21, maybe 26mm of armor, if that. So, yeah, when you're talking about tier 9 and tier 10, the magic number is 32. If you can get your secondary guns, or any guns on any ship that has smaller caliber guns, to pin 32mm of armor, that's your ticket to good, consistent damage, because that's the last major armor threshold in the game, meaning that most of the ships at higher tier, their extremities, the bow, the stern, those large parts of the ship that don't have a lot of armor on them that you normally overpin with AP, is 32mm thick, meaning that those guns can hit that part of the ship and get damage. Now, this ship we're talking about, which is the Sicilia, which I kind of overlooked because of the, you know, kind of information overload we got last week with the update and all that. I heard that it was a Colombo with SAP secondaries. I'm like, oh, okay, so another Giuseppe Verdi treatment, right? You swap the main battery munitions out with AP and SAP to HE and AP, and you just give the secondary guns SAP. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's, you know, it's Giuseppe Verdi, lots of 90mm SAP secondaries that realistically won't really do that much besides superstructure damage and maybe damage to light cruisers and heavy cruisers. But, dear friends, there's something very different about the Sicilia, because in Wargaming's fever dream universe, whatever Wargaming cinematic universe they keep pulling these ship designs from, she does not have 90mm SAP secondaries. She has proper 127mm secondaries. The American 127mm secondaries. Somehow, I don't know where this is coming from, what timeline this is supposed to be a part of, but it does. I don't know if they're taking like a page out of the French book, because I know the Richelieu, once she was handed over to the Americans, They did take the Richelieu back to the United States, and they modernized her with American AA guns, but I don't think they strapped American 127s to her deck. At least I'm pretty sure they didn't. So did they do the same with the Colombo class? Like if the Colombo class got built and the Italians surrendered, well, which they did, the Americans would have just taken the Colombo and finished it with 127mm secondaries, or the Sicilia in this case? I guess so, but yeah, alright, cool. I mean, we get much better SAP secondaries, but go off, Wargaming, go off. So, this ship in particular, the statistics of it, well, the description of the dev blog, which I'll read here for you. Again, you find this in the link down below, as per usual. They say, as a sister ship to the Cristoforo Colombo, Sicilia will share the same main armament of 4 quadruple 381mm turrets. As key differences, Sicilia has a longer duration and quicker reloading exhaust smoke generator, that's very spicy, better reload in her main battery, and her complement of secondary guns will fire SAP. To even out these differences, HE will replace SAP for her main battery. Yeah. Captains helming the Sicilia into battle will wish to factor in her high surface detection and play conservatively in the game. Preserving HP for later on is important for seizing the opportunity to close with the enemy and use her SAP secondaries. The improved exhaust smoke generator will assist in both the early and late games by allowing high-speed maneuvering in smoke while evading or charging in it to bring secondary batteries to bear. I love how in the description they don't mention that they made the secondaries so much better, besides just making them SAP with the 127s. So she has 89,900 HP, 32mm plating, 31% torpedo protection. The firing range, 18.9 is the range, seems to be about right. Let's see here, Sigma is 1.5. Yes. The reload time is 33 seconds, which is better than Colombo's, 38? So, okay, a little bit better there. But I mean, like, still 12 15-inch guns. I'm sorry, 16 15-inch guns. That's a lot, right? Like, I get they're small, but when you got 16 of them coming at you, that's plenty of pain to go around. Alright, so of course the SAP secondary. So she has 10x2 of the American 127s with a range of 7.5 kilometers base. 10x2. That is 20 127mm guns. That's a lot. So I'm guessing 5 per side. That's, yeah. And keep in mind, they have SAP. Their maximum damage is 2,700 with a 6-second reload time base. So once you build into it with the modules and the commander skills, that's going to go down. And if you're wondering, the American 127s, when they're equipped with SAP, if they still give them the same penetration values, that's 36 millimeters of pen. 36 millimeters of penetration. Which means this thing is going to rip and tear through everything that it can see. All the cruisers, the destroyers, the battleships, again, it can get over 32. It's going to absolutely chew through them. And that's not all of her secondaries either. She has 6 of the tri-mounted 152s as well. So, yeah. And the 152s, they of course can pin 32 millimeters or above. And they do 3,850 damage per shell, max damage per shell, with a 12-second reload time, so double the reload time of the 127s. So, yeah, that's a lot. Oh my god, so 7.5 kilometers, once you build into it, I think that's what, 11 and change, is that 12? I'm not sure with the, how they keep changing the commander modules on, I'm sorry, the commander skills and the modules. I mean, I think it should be, I believe, 11 or 12, so that's a decent range, shall we say, for the secondaries. And keep in mind, too, you do have the smoke consumable that you can use. So how much longer is the smoke? Because they noted it was longer. Exhaust smoke runs for 1 minute. Dang, 1 minute smoke. That's, again, that is base. You can build into it and get it out longer. So you have a 1 minute exhaust smoke. You do get spotter or fighter. So what most Italian ships do, like, well, let's use the Napoli for example. They'll smoke up, they'll launch their spotter or their fighter plane, and the spotter or fighter will spot for the Napoli and smoke, and since your secondaries don't extend your detection ring out when you are in smoke, you just let your secondaries go to work and they get free damage. You don't get spotted at all for it. So that's something you're going to be able to do with the Sicilia here. I think we very well may have my new favorite battleship right here. Now, of course, the downside is that the secondaries will not be able to start fires, so you will not get any damage over time at all from them. The main battery guns will. The HE, what is the HE like in the main battery guns? 24% fire chance with 16 shells. I mean, yeah, that's still, I mean, per shell, that's low, but since you have 16 of them, that's decent-ish. So you could do that, but yeah, no, the secondaries won't bring you that damage over time. But I mean, when you've got 25-inch sap secondaries on top of 18 of the 253 sap secondaries, that's 38 secondary guns. That is crazy. That is a high number of secondary guns. That is Spanish galleon territory for guns. And then, you know, you throw the 16 main guns on top of there too, and then that's a lot of guns on one ship. So this thing is looking goofy. It's looking ridiculous. I think she still goes there at 32 knots, right? Because the Colombo does speed 29.6 knots. So yeah, once you get the flag on there, 32 knots. Yeah, with a smoke, with sap secondaries. Yeah, and keep in mind you can put Cincinnati on this. So yeah, this thing's goofy. This thing's really goofy. I cannot wait for it to come out. I will throw my wallet at it, or coal, or sell my kidney, whatever I have to do to get it. Shoot, Wargaming may actually start requiring kidneys, given how the Kitakami event is looking. Who knows anymore? But yes, this is the one we've been waiting for, lads. This is it. This is a SAP secondary ship that we have been absolutely drooling over. Don't change anything about it, Wargaming. I hope it underperforms in testing, so you don't touch it. If anything, you buff it during testing, because this is what we've been waiting for. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Sicilia. I'm very hyped for it, as you can tell by my commentary here. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 75,000 subscribers, thanks to you guys. I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.